Hi, my name is Alex Carlucci with Gustan Show Associates at gustanshow.com, and we are at Loan Cabin here. So I want to talk to you about some things to avoid stressful situations in the mortgage process, and I want to talk about last-minute denials and why that happens, and then why you guys come to us. So last-minute denials, let's start with that first. So there's always problems with last-minute denials because we're always asking for updated this, updated that, and sometimes we don't have all the things that support the documentation you give us. So for example, we might have your pay stubs, we might have calculated your income, we may have saw your W-2s, the underwriter believed in it, but we were waiting for what's called a verification of employment. Verification of employment is a document that goes to your employer and they have to fill it out. It's very detailed oriented. It breaks down exactly your pay, your last pay raise, it breaks down overtime, hours worked, probability of working there. So if that thing were to come back that's saying that you're leaving in 30 days, like you're being let go or laid off, that could happen. If you're an hourly worker and you've been working 40 hours a week, the last 3 pay stubs, but in the past 2 years they figure out that you're working 20 hours a week, then they start averaging hours, and then now your income's no good. Or it looked like your bonus income was right, but it wasn't exactly correct the way we had it calculated, so we have to reduce your income. Or they may determine that it's a last minute second, they may determine that it's a family owned business, and now we have to average the last 2 years. So if your family owns the business and they figure it out, then they have to average those 2 years of income. They don't get to go off that current salary. So things like that come up on the verification of employment. There's also a thing called Data Verify or Fraud Guard, where the underwriters do a background check, and sometimes they don't pull it till late in the game. So that researches foreclosures, bankruptcies. So if you think if it's out for your credit report, they'll still find these bankruptcies and foreclosures. So they find all sorts of weird things. If you got a criminal background in mortgages or something like that, little things pop up. So that's another source of getting a last-minute denial. Another thing is you might have bought a car last second. So if you go out and buy a car, buy some furniture right before you move into your house, your debt-to-income ratio gets thrown out of whack, and then you get denied. So there's another reason for a last-minute denial. So you want to avoid, first of all, you want to tell your loan officer exactly what your income is. When we're asking you, we're on your side. We need to know the truth of everything so this doesn't happen to you. We want to know that you're not going to buy any cars or run your credit that's going to pop up. But if you got any foreclosure and bankruptcy, don't think if you tricked me that we're tricking the bank. So, don't think that, tell us everything. We need to know everything up front so you don't have these last-minute denials because they're very tedious. Another thing that could happen is that they see your final bank statement with cash to close. Let's say we're waiting for that last deposit from paycheck, and then they see some large cash deposits in that activity statement that we had updated. Now they can't use that money. It's no good. Or let's say that there's an additional cost from the title company for stamps or something that nobody saw, and now you don't have enough money to close. Those would be last-minute denial things. There's always a way to save the day, but those are some reasons that can come up for you. Your credit score could drop, and they do an updated. They see that something happened with your credit score, and they do an updated credit score. That's mostly with conventional loans, but if your credit score were to drop suddenly, also you get repriced into a new rate, and you get last-minute denials. So let's try to avoid these last-minute denials, and let's talk about how we can make this process easier and less stressful for you. So when we ask you for 2 months bank statements, and we ask you about your job, we ask you about all these pay stubs, and we ask for W-2s, we want you to give us everything. And I want to go back to last-minute denials, because one of the things we ask for is 2 years tax returns, and sometimes you might have amended your returns, and they do what's called the 4506, and they'll run that, and they'll determine that the tax returns we have on file aren't really the real tax returns because you amended them, and that would be a last-minute denial. So we want everything. You got to give us everything right, the way we asked for it, and it'll avoid a lot of problems and last-minute denials. So we ask for 2 years tax returns, give us the most recent copy prepared, and 2 years W-2s, all the W-2s. So if you switch jobs, we need every single W-2. Tell us your exact work history. Even if you worked at a place for a week, that can cause a lot of problems in underwriting when they can't match up your tax returns with your W-2 income. They figure this all out. This is really complicated stuff, and they got it down. So they're going to miss 1 week of W-2s. If you don't give it to us, it could delay the closing. So you give us a 1 month of pay stubs, that's 30 days worth, not 4 weeks, but 30 full days, so like 4.2 weeks. So give us those, and 2 months bank statements, no large deposits that are cash, and give us a valid ID, and that should help us go through the process smoothly. And let's make sure we know what the cash to close is, and let's make sure we have a game plan to get there. So if you don't have it in there now, let's make sure you have a solid game plan, because that can really delay closings, waiting, getting that money. And I see a lot of customers saying, yeah, I'll have it, but then they find out they spent more money than they thought, and now they don't have it. So that bank statement is live until the very end. So that when you give me 2 months bank statements or enough money to close, well, we're going to ask for an updated bank statement for an earnest money check clearing. And if you spent that money, it's no longer there. Now we're short to close. So make sure you listen to your loan officer when he says, don't run your credit, don't buy a car, no cash deposits, save your money, don't do anything, lay low. You're like a hermit for 30 to 45 days, all right? And that'll help you solve your problems with problems during the process, delaying closings, and actually last minute denials. I hope you like this video. Please go to GustanShow.com or give me a call anytime at 630-915-7550. Thank you.